The beginning of the year is a great time to try something new, learn new things, and step a little outside your comfort zone. But often fear gets in the way. We choose what's familiar and comfortable, and that's understandable. But real growth doesn't really happen if we always do what's familiar and safe. In this video, I'll share my reflections on why stepping outside your comfort zone is worth it. Let's remember that in a slow living mindset, stepping outside your comfort zone doesn't mean pushing or forcing yourself to do anything. We take small steps in a way that feels gentle and supportive. You're much more likely to succeed if you move at your own pace. And stepping outside your comfort zone doesn't always mean that a big life change is necessary. It can mean something that's connected to your everyday life, like learning a new hobby. For me, lately, that has meant learning new knitting techniques. If you have been watching my channel, you might remember that I mentioned wanting to develop my skills in knitting color work. I took on knitting a sweater that's overall color work, and it involves a technique that's completely new to me, steeking, which means cutting into your knitted fabric to create an opening. I found an excellent class on that technique on Craftsy, which is the sponsor of this video. Craftsy is my online resource for all things creative. It's an online community where crafters and makers can find creative inspiration and advance their skills. Craftsy offers more than 2,000 classes in over 20 popular categories like crochet, knitting, painting, photography, cake decorating, woodworking, and many more. The class I took on Craftsy is called Cut Your Knitting, Strand and Steek with Confidence by Beth Whiteside. And it taught me the essentials of steeking and gave me the confidence to try it. Inspired by that, I found even more classes on Craftsy, for example on embroidery, sewing, and baking, that got me excited about picking up new skills. If you're a maker like me, you might want to try them too. The first 1,000 people watching this video to use the link in my description will get a full year of premium membership to Craftsy for only $1.49. Or you can use the QR code on the screen. Offer valid for new members only. Like I often do, at the end of this video I will be going into details about my current knitting project, but right now, first, let's go into my insights about stepping out of my comfort zone and learning something new. Leaving the comfort zone feels uncomfortable, and that's okay. Life changes and even learning new things can be scary. We often have doubts. What if I fail? What if I can't do this? What if everything goes wrong? And that's completely natural. I think the trick here is to allow for all those feelings to come, and to accept that being a beginner can feel like it's something difficult. Changing things can feel challenging. After all, it's almost inevitable that you will feel clumsy and like you can't do this, like you don't have the skills, if you're just trying something out. And that's why we need to be careful about the size of the challenge we pick. I published my first book last year, and it was a long process. It took me years to write it. And I think this is a perfect example on how you need to make sure that the challenge you pick is the right size for you. If you're just starting with writing, your challenge might be just sitting down and writing a few pages every day. You don't need to dream about getting a book deal right away. That might be something too big, something daunting even. But if you have been writing for a longer time and your manuscript is almost completely finished, then your challenge might be trying to find a publisher. If we're talking about crafts, if you're starting knitting, for example, just pick one technique at a time that you're practicing, unless you're a very adventurous knitter. Otherwise, you might just start feeling overwhelmed and like everything is too complicated. Never compare yourself to others. I think what's important when you decide to step out of your comfort zone is to make the decision yourself and choose challenges that feel the right challenges for you. Don't worry about what your friends are doing, and don't think that you should master all the techniques in a particular craft just because other people are ahead of you. Your learning pace doesn't need to be fast just because somebody else's is. So stop comparing yourself to others, because that kills all joy. Do these things only for yourself, and only when you feel like it's a good time to challenge yourself. And I also want to remind you that age doesn't matter. Whatever you want to learn, you're most likely able to learn it no matter what your age. I'm in my 40s myself, and sometimes it feels like people my age already think that they're too old to learn something new. I think that's a pity. And besides, if you're in your 40s or older, you can base the new things you learn on the things you already know. You have life experience. You have tried different things. Maybe that will help you in learning the new thing that you're trying to learn. Focus on the excitement and joy of learning something new. Any challenge feels lighter if you look at it through the lens of joy. In the context of hobbies, it's easy to find that joy. But sometimes life throws you challenges that you wouldn't have chosen yourself. Even in those situations, I think it's wonderful if you can find even tiny bits of joy, because that will make the whole challenge easier for you. And I think if you take on challenges in small things like hobbies, that will give you resilience. You will learn that you are a person who is able to learn new things, who can tackle challenges. And then when something big happens in your life, you will have more ability to tackle those bigger challenges as well. Confidence grows through experiences of success. When you try new things and learn new things, you will get these small experiences of success. And that will make you a more confident person. If you were a person who was only dreaming of writing a book, who was only dreaming of knitting that perfect sweater, that will give you a boost of confidence. And soon you will be a person who knits whatever they want to knit or bakes whatever you want to bake. Then the next challenge can be even a little bigger. You will learn to trust yourself in moments that feel challenging. That has a ripple effect in all areas of your life. You will also learn to fail better. You have no idea how many times I have failed in my knitting projects. I have unraveled a lot. I have learned how to deal with mistakes. And I have learned that it's part of the process, really. It doesn't matter that you are failing. It means that you are learning and that you know that you can do things better. And that has made me realize that failing isn't such a big deal after all. Now that we have covered the main points that I wanted to talk about, I will tell you a few details about the project that I'm working on in knitting right now. So this is the Iris sweater by Trin Annalee. It's an all-over colorwork sweater. The first time I saw the pattern on Ravelry, I immediately knew that I wanted to have it myself. I just fell in love with the motif. I think the colors in the sample pictures were so beautiful, but I was intimidated because, like I have said previously, I'm not very comfortable in knitting colorwork. And this sweater is knitted with fingering weight yarn on 3mm needles. And the design is oversized, which means there's a lot of knitting to do. But I'm kind of stubborn when it comes to things that I really want. So I just decided that I'm going to give it a try. And of course, steeking was my biggest fear in this project, because that's something that I had never done before. And steeking means that you cut into the fabric you just knitted. Often when you're knitting a cardigan, because knitting a colorwork is much easier in the round, so you just knit the whole sweater in the round and then you cut the opening later, so that you can avoid doing colorwork on the wrong side. In this case, you cut into the armholes and the neckline. And before cutting the steek, you need to reinforce the stitches either by sewing by a sewing machine or crocheting. And I did the crocheted reinforcement. I do have a sewing machine, but for some reason the crocheted reinforcement just seemed more easy. The yarn I'm using is tuku wool fingering, which is a Finnish yarn, 100% wool. And it's this kind of rustic, a little bit prickly wool. I fell in love with these colors and I just bought these in a D-Stash group on Facebook. I didn't really have a project in mind then, but soon after purchasing them I felt like a colorwork project is something perfect for this kind of yarn. And I do love the colors. I love how they go so well together. I was a bit skeptical about this green because it's so close to the gray. You can't really see much contrast there between the colors. But I think that this kind of a low contrast colorwork can also be a beautiful choice. Of course, now this is still unblocked, so it will look hopefully a lot neater when I finally give it a proper wet blocking. So I casted this on in November, I think. I have been working on other projects as well, but I know that this is a slow one. It will probably take me ages before I finish it. But I see this like a boot camp in practicing color work. I'm sure that after I have completed this project, I will be much better at knitting color work. My tension will get much better. And I can already see it. I feel like here in the top parts, where I started, because this is a top-down sweater, my tension was a bit all over the place. But here, where I'm now, it's already getting better. So I hope that those are some of the things that will get more even in the process of blocking. So that's what I've been working on lately. Please feel free to share what you are doing, what kind of things are inspiring you at the moment. Are you excited to try and learn new things this year? What are the skills that you would like to pick up? Thank you for watching. Remember to take care of yourself. See you in the next video. Bye bye!